Snow White is finally coming out this weekend. I believe this weekend's coming out. And if you're planning to see it, you'll be one of the very few, I think. Disney is scaling down their plans for the premiere. And right now they're in damage mitigation phase. They've been in that for a while. They're expecting that this thing will flop, which it probably will. Then again, you can never underestimate the American moviegoer's appetite for soulless corporates.
Now, one thing that is already universally known at this point by the general public is the fact that Disney is in full-on damage control mode when it comes to their upcoming movie, Snow White 2024.
For around $4 billion.
I know this point has been made, but this truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry. Has there been a film with worse casting than this? And I don't just mean the Snow White actress. Obviously, she's terrible, but both.
Disney has scrapped plans for a star-studded UK premiere of its live-action Snow White.
Like every other franchise they've touched. Now, for Disney, as you probably remember, all of this publicity, the Zegler interviews, the Daily Mail leak, caused a lot of unexpected, for them anyway, pre-production problems. People weren't supposed to see and understand just how unwatchable the new Snow White was going to be. It was supposed to be, kind of a surprise, but now there was no hiding it. They came under fire from pretty much everyone.
Now, one thing about Rachel Zegler is that we know that she's not helping at all one bit.
Last summer, Disney suffered a rare mishap on their way to defiling yet another beloved work of fiction with the usual DEI casting.
Disney is having its own problems. They're finally releasing the latest adaptation of Snow White, but they're scaling back the Hollywood premiere of the film. Kinsey, why is that?
Because Rachel Zegler is a PR nightmare.
Neither of them make any sense for their roles. We've already covered how Rachel Zegler is a terrible choice for Snow White. Nothing about her says Snow White, and that's even leaving aside the fact that she ultimately detests the story, as she's said many times during this disastrous PR campaign. But Gal Gadot, who plays the Queen, the first problem is that she's the evil queen. The evil queen is supposed to be envious of Snow White's beauty, and that is just not believable. It is just not, even in a movie with magical mirrors and dwarves and all that, in a fairy tale, that strains my ability to suspend disbelief. I can buy that this is a world with magic, it's a world where dwarves are down in the gold mines and singing and whatever. I cannot buy that Gal Gadot is angry that she's not as beautiful as Rachel Zegler. I cannot buy that.
This is someone who is as entitled as, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it, you didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. You should shut up and do it.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Hello, Disney. You're gonna have.
There has been significant backlash surrounding the casting choices and promotional campaign for Disney's live-action remake of Snow White. Critics argue that Rachel Zegler is an odd choice for the role of Snow White, pointing out that she does not fit the traditional image of the character. Moreover, Zegler has publicly expressed disdain for the original story, which has only added fuel to the fire of the film's troubled PR campaign. On the other hand, Gal Gadot's casting as the evil queen has also drawn criticism. The character is known for being envious of Snow White's beauty, but many find it hard to believe that Gadot, with her own beauty and stature, would be convinced she is less attractive than Zegler's portrayal of Snow White. The casting choice seems to stretch the audience's suspension of disbelief, even in a fairy tale world filled with magic and dwarves. The film has faced a slew of negative reactions, including the cancellation of its premiere, an unusual move for a high-profile Disney project. This has led to speculation that Disney is trying to minimize the damage from the overwhelming criticism surrounding the film. Insiders suggest that the backlash has shaken the studio's confidence in the project, and Zegler is reportedly grappling with the consequences for her career. This latest development points to Disney's attempt to control the fallout and avoid further embarrassment, as the film has garnered negative attention not only for its cast, but also for its portrayal of elements from the original Snow White story.
We're
What's interesting about Snow White is that after the UK premiere was cancelled, that was by far the biggest signal that Disney is in pure panic mode at this point when it comes to the critics, when it comes to the bad press, as well as when it comes to those that are very vocal and really speaking their mind and really throwing their opinion.
The decision to cancel the premiere is being seen as a desperate attempt by Disney to limit the damage from the ongoing controversy. The backlash began when Zegler made a series of dismissive comments about the 1937 animated classic, which angered both fans and critics. Although Disney initially defended her, the growing negative response made it clear that audiences were unwilling to overlook or forgive her remarks. Now, with the premiere officially canceled, the studio appears to be cutting its losses and distancing itself from the project. It is nearly unprecedented for a company as influential as Disney to backtrack on such a significant event, suggesting that internal discussions have reached a critical point. Executives are reportedly weighing drastic options, including shelving the film entirely or releasing it directly to Disney Plus with minimal promotion to avoid a box office disaster.
Time she opens her mouth, it's crisis mode when it comes to Disney, having to backtrack. She talks about how this isn't a fairy tale about falling in love with a prince. This is a fairy tale about fighting your...
Industry insiders report that Zegler was caught off guard by Disney's decision to cancel the premiere. She had been preparing for a major promotional push, hoping to turn public opinion around. However, the studio's move has left her feeling abandoned and betrayed. Sources close to the actress say she is now in a state of panic, fearing that this could signal the end of her relationship with Disney. The situation has reached a critical point, with Zegler's team working overtime on damage control. They are attempting to spin the premiere's cancellation as a strategic move rather than a response to the controversy. However, given the growing public backlash against the film, few are buying this narrative. Many view the cancellation as further confirmation that Disney is distancing itself from the project entirely. Hollywood analysts are now raising questions about the future of the Snow White remake, as Disney's decision to cancel the premiere casts serious doubt on the studio's confidence in the film's success. Some are speculating that Disney may even opt to shelve the movie entirely or quietly release it on Disney Plus to avoid further embarrassment. If this happens, it would mark one of the biggest missteps in Disney's modern history. The financial investment in Snow White has been substantial, and pulling back at this stage suggests that the studio may see it as less risky to take a loss than to face a potential box office disaster. This decision could also set a troubling precedent for future Disney projects, highlighting the immense impact of public backlash and the speed with which a once promising actress can fall from grace due to poor PR management. Zegler's reaction to the cancellation of the premiere has only fueled further speculation about her future with Disney. Sources say she has been privately venting her frustrations, blaming the backlash on a toxic online culture rather than taking responsibility for her role in the controversy. However, with Disney executives making significant moves behind the scenes, it's clear the studio is more focused on protecting its brand than defending its lead actress. If this pattern continues, Zegler could find herself unofficially blacklisted from future Disney projects, joining a long list of Hollywood stars who have fallen out of favor with major studios. Her failure to acknowledge the impact of her remarks and work to shift public perception may ultimately be the reason Disney has chosen to quietly distance itself from her. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen in Snow White, has reportedly remained silent regarding the ongoing controversy. Some believe that Gadot foresaw the backlash from the beginning and made a strategic decision to distance herself from Zegler's remarks early on. If this is the case, Gadot could emerge from this situation relatively unscathed, while Zegler bears the full brunt of the fallout. Gadot's PR team has been particularly careful to keep her out of the headlines related to Snow White's mounting controversy. Instead, they have shifted the focus to her other upcoming projects, ensuring that her name remains associated with positive media attention. By doing so, Godot has successfully avoided getting caught up in the negative buzz surrounding the film, which has become a major public relations headache for both Disney and Zegler. This deliberate approach by Godot and her team stands in stark contrast to how Zegler has handled the situation. While Zegler has reportedly blamed the backlash on a toxic online culture, refusing to take full responsibility for her own role in the controversy, Godot has stayed out of the drama entirely. Her silence has allowed her to avoid further scrutiny, while Zegler's more vocal reactions have only fueled the fire. As a result, many observers believe that Godot may be able to salvage her career, even though she is attached to a project that has been widely regarded as a potential failure. In Hollywood, the way actors and their PR teams navigate controversies can have a lasting impact on their careers. Godot's careful handling of the situation may have already positioned her to move past the Snow White debacle. By focusing on her other work, including her roles in Fast and Furious and Wonder Woman, she's maintained her public image as a beloved and reliable star. In contrast, Zegler's failure to acknowledge the full extent of the backlash and her inability to shift public opinion could be seen as a misstep in the long run. As Disney's confidence in the Snow White project continues to erode, many are questioning whether the film will even see the light of day in theaters. The cancellation of the premiere has raised serious doubts about the studio's faith in the film's success, and some insiders are speculating that Disney might consider releasing the film quietly on Disney Plus, or even shelving it entirely. If that happens, it would mark one of the biggest missteps in Disney's modern history, particularly given the massive financial investment in the project. The growing fallout from Snow White's controversy also underscores the power of public perception in today's entertainment industry. Hollywood has long been known for its ability to bounce back from failed projects or controversial statements, but the speed and intensity of the public's reaction to Zegler's remarks have forced Disney into damage control mode. This has led many to believe that Disney may be more inclined to distance itself from Zegler, while Godot's careful PR management could allow her to avoid lasting damage to her career. Ultimately, how this situation unfolds could have significant implications for both actresses and their future roles in the industry. For now, Godot's quiet, calculated approach to the controversy stands in sharp contrast to Zegler's more reactive handling, and it remains to be seen which actress will emerge with their career intact. The cancellation of the premiere is sending shockwaves throughout the industry, with other actors and filmmakers closely observing how Disney handles the situation. If the studio is willing to pull the plug on such a major event, it could signal a shift in how they approach public backlash in the future. This decision may have long-term implications for future casting choices and how stars are expected to navigate press and public relations moving forward. It's likely that Disney will adopt stricter media training for its talent, ensuring that actors fully understand the importance of protecting the studio's legacy and managing their public image. This situation serves as a stark reminder to up-and-coming actors about the risks of being too outspoken in an industry where public perception plays a critical role in shaping careers. For many, it highlights the potential consequences of failing to manage their personal views and public statements carefully, as studios like Disney may prioritize their brand over individual talent. Social media is already buzzing with reactions to the news of the Snow White premiere cancellation, and many critics are celebrating Disney's decision as a win for fans of the original 1937 animated classic. Hashtags like "SAR, not my Snow White" and "Snow White disaster" are trending once again, with audiences voicing their frustration over how the studio has handled the remake. For many, the backlash is a reflection of broader dissatisfaction with Disney's approach to reimagining its beloved fairy tales. Some fans are even calling for the film to be scrapped entirely, arguing that a project so deeply flawed should never see the light of day. They believe that Disney's attempt to modernize these classic stories has been misguided, as many remakes have failed to capture the magic of the originals. This latest controversy surrounding Snow White has further fueled these concerns, and critics argue that Disney's strategy of reworking iconic films may be contributing to the growing sense of disillusionment among fans. The decision to cancel. The premiere of Snow White signals that Disney may be reconsidering its approach to these live-action adaptations. With each remake met with varying degrees of success or failure, the studio's confidence in its formula appears to be waning. Fans have voiced frustration over the casting choices, the handling of the story, and the overall direction of the Utcher films, and the overwhelming response to the Snow White controversy could be a tipping point for the studio. This situation also highlights the growing power of social media in shaping the narrative around major Hollywood releases. The backlash against Snow White has been swift and widespread, with fans using their platforms to make their voices heard. Disney's move to cancel the premiere is seen as a direct response to this online outrage, and many are now questioning how much influence public opinion has over the success or failure of a film before it even hits theaters. The controversy surrounding Snow White may prompt Disney to rethink its approach to future remakes. The studio's focus on diversity, modernization, and updating classic stories for contemporary audiences has had mixed results. While some remakes have been met with praise, others have struggled to find a balance between honoring the original material and appealing to today's viewers. In light of the current backlash, Disney may be more cautious in its future casting decisions and marketing strategies, understanding the risks of alienating core fans. The lasting impact of the Snow White disaster could be far-reaching, affecting not only the way Disney selects its lead actors, but also how it markets its films moving forward. This controversy serves as a stark reminder of how quickly public sentiment can turn against a film, especially in an era where social media amplifies every misstep. Disney may now be forced to reconsider how it navigates the delicate balance of staying true to its legacy while adapting to modern sensibilities. For aspiring actors and filmmakers, this situation is a cautionary tale about the importance of public relations and the potential consequences of being too outspoken or mismanaging a project's narrative. In an industry where public perception can make or break a career, Disney's handling of this controversy may set a precedent for how future projects are managed and marketed in the era of social media.